Now, England's Chief Medical Officer, Professor Sir Chris Whitty, says a new law to allow terminally ill people to die should not be rushed and safeguards should be kept simple. He was among experts giving evidence to a committee of MPs which is scrutinising the assisted dying bill. Now, it is currently at the committee stage where evidence is presented to the Assisting Dying Bill Committee. The report stage will follow, where MPs scrutinise the bill line by line and are then allowed to make amendments. The final vote, known as the third reading in the House of Commons, is expected as soon as April. Now, if it passes that vote, the bill progresses to the House of Lords before it can be sent for royal assent, when the King would officially make it law. Well, Paul Brand is here. So what's been at the centre of debate today, Paul?
Well, it's worth remembering this isn't about the principle of assisted dying. That's already been approved by MPs in theory last November. This is about the practicalities now. How can you design a bill that is safe, that is effective, that is workable? Can that even be done? The answer from Sir Chris Whitty today seemed to be yes, but as you mentioned, he was very, very insistent that this must not be rushed. This is what he said.
The key thing is to get this right. So I personally, I would rather this wasn't running against a timeline. You wouldn't want it to drag on forever, because then you have uncertainty. 2 years seems a reasonable starting point, but some things might take longer than that to work out how we're going to provide this in the most safe, equitable way.
Well, campaigners on either side have seized on Chris Whitty's fairly neutral words, has to be said, to make their arguments, as you would expect. But there were several really interesting and very complicated issues that came up in this evidence today, right through from whether coercion can ever really be detected, through to whether doctors should opt out and not be forced to go through with assisted deaths if they don't feel that it's within their kind of moral and ethical framework. I'll just give you three that really came up time and time again, though. One was palliative care, the fact that hospices are currently underfunded. Would that improve or get worse if assisted dying was brought in? There was a big debate about that. Another is whether there would be enough High Court judges to physically sit down and go through all of these applications. That was a real concern with the way the bill is currently designed. And then there's the question of where assisted deaths would take place, in the NHS or in private clinics. That question hasn't actually been answered yet. While MPs were debating this, though, in England and Wales, on the Isle of Man, they actually approved assisted dying today. It's taken another step in that direction. That will probably be the first and quite possibly not the last place in the British Isles to make it law.